So good afternoon. This is a live update from UNISON regarding the Surrey Pay ballot, which closed yesterday. My name's Paul Couchman. I'm the UNISON branch secretary and the lead negotiator on Surrey Pay. In previous broadcasts and through emails, phone conversations and on social media, we have well articulated the reasons behind this important vote. We exhausted all avenues of negotiation and the dispute within the council's procedures. Although they did make a slightly revised offer to the lowest paid, that still fell far short of what was needed. We had no option other than to put it to you, our members. We were convinced, and we still are, that we could have won a better deal for our members if we could take back some of the power from the employer. When the council holds all the cards, we've only got the threat of strike action to use as a lever to push for a better pay offer. During our online consultation earlier this year, the majority of members did vote, over 53%, a credit to all the members and activists who participated. In fact, a record majority of you at that point, 91%, said you wanted us to pursue the dispute, to try to get an appropriate improved offer, and to ballot for strike action. So that is what we did. The results from the strike ballot are now in. We balloted 2,006 members and needed a minimum 1,004 members to vote. The total number of votes cast was just 850. That's 160 votes short of the minimum 50% we needed. The total number voting yes was 694, a clear majority of 82%, with only 155 of you voting no. But the turnout was just under 43%. As the turnout was below 50%, it won't be possible for us to take industrial action under current legislation. Of course, once again, we are disappointed, but we have to face the simple, hard truth. Not enough members post back their ballot papers. You may even still have it on your mantelpiece or down the side of the sofa. We were just 160 short. Given the amount of messaging, phone calls, and texts encouraging members to vote, we can only assume that the majority of members were either happy with the pay award or they believed it could not be improved. Importantly, the fact that the council paid the award last month before our ballot was concluded and whilst our dispute was still live, we believe will also have had an impact. If you didn't vote because you read the council's message and you thought it was all settled, please do let us know. We are looking into the legality of SCC imposing the settlement before the ballot was concluded and therefore interfering with our ballot. Our basic argument has been very simple from the start, that our members are being left behind the national pay offers of the last 2 years, behind the local Surrey boroughs and districts, behind salaries in the London boroughs, and well behind inflation. SCC staff wages have fallen below acceptable levels over the whole last decade and more. We argued that the council needed to begin to rectify this by offering a fair and reasonable pay uplift from the 1st of April this year. We even lowered our original expectations from our claim and suggested a £2,000 lump sum increase for all staff, except for the very highest earners. If a few more members had voted, we would have been able to give the council notice of days of industrial action, inevitably impacting the council services. That result would have brought the council back to the negotiating table and we could have been looking at a vastly improved offer. UNISON members working in schools, children's homes, social care, social work, mental health, trading standards, libraries, registrars, highways, business support staff and all the rest of Surrey County Council services have spoken. Almost 1,000 SCC staff have said they were prepared to take strike action and refuse to be left behind. So what happens next? As with last year, we'll now meet with the council, where we will hear their response to our vote. The branch committee will discuss the results and decide on how we approach ongoing discussions with the council. We will argue that even though we didn't reach the legal threshold, the turnout and the strength of feeling was clear, and they could still rethink their offer. Whatever happens, your UNISON branch has come out of this stronger, more united, more determined than ever to continue representing members to the best of our ability and to push back the cost of living crisis through our negotiations with the council. Although we may not be able to push for any more this year, we still won through our campaigning and through our consultative ballot, an extension to sick pay back to 6 months full pay and 6 months half pay, an extra day's annual leave for long-standing employees, and an increased pay award for the lowest paid staff. That would not have happened without the work of your union and without your participation. This year's dispute may have run its course, but we will start working on next year's pay claim immediately, and we'll be pushing for an increase to cover the last 3 years of being left behind. As always, I will finish with 3 messages. One to Unison members, one to those who have yet to join us, and one for the Council. Unison members, please stick with us. Read your emails, reply to our messages, participate in our surveys and ballots. We can't do any of this without your involvement. If you've got a rep in your team, please talk to them about the dispute and what you think. If you don't have a rep, please think about becoming one. Or do you know someone in your team who would be ideal? Ask them. We also have self-organised groups of women members, black members, LGBT+ and disabled members. Young members under 30 also have their own network, and there are many other ways to get involved. Please just ask. Those of you who are watching this who are not yet Unison members, if you want to be part of the ongoing campaign for fair pay, if you too refuse to be left behind, why not join us? There are also lots of other important reasons why people join Unison: representation, if you need it at work, employment advice at the end of a telephone line, and access to a range of education opportunities, not to mention cheap car insurance, holidays, a free will writing service. Just go to unison.org.uk and click on join. You won't regret it. Finally, a serious message to the Council. The huge turnout in our ballot was once again more than you expected, and far higher than recent turnouts in NJC ballots. Your own staff surveys never get over 30% response rate, and last year over half of those surveyed by you said they were worried about the rising cost of living and thought that we were not rewarded adequately for our work. We achieved a higher percentage of voters than many of the councillors in Surrey ever received in their elections. You cannot escape from the reality that our members, your staff, feel they deserve and need far more than you've offered. We have to accept that we didn't reach the legal threshold needed to announce dates for strike action, but we serve notice on the Council that you need to once again acknowledge the strength of feeling of your staff. Almost 1,000 of our members voted to take strike action. They're overworked and underpaid. Many face bullying from a stressed out management as they try to cover the mounting work with less and less staff. Add to this the fiasco over the implementation of My Surrey and the clampdown on flexible working. And more employees are seeing the benefits of working for SCC diminishing day by day. Inflation is still high. Prices are not going down. The cost of living is severely affecting everyone working for Surrey. It isn't too late for the Council to recognise the strength of feeling and make an improvement on what is being offered. Even a one-off cost of living payment, on top of what's already been imposed, would show that you've listened and begin to rebuild trust between you and your employees. Unison are already getting ourselves in gear for pay negotiations for 2025. We've learned lessons from the last 2 years' campaigns, and we will be ready to deliver record votes for action if we need to. For regular updates, please follow us on all our social media platforms: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok and Threads. If you're connected to the Surrey intranet, you can also follow us on Yammer. If you've got any questions or would like to know more about getting involved with Unison, please email unison@surreycc.gov.uk. Thank you for listening to this live broadcast.